Hey there, just a little prelude to the video you're about to see. We get a lot of questions about how we make kombucha and what our process is, our routine is. And last night while we were doing our monthly kombucha bottling, we decided to grab the phone and take some clips and hopefully put them all together. And next time somebody asks how we make kombucha, we can share it with them. Just to point out, we are by no means experts, but we have been making it for 2 or 3 years on a monthly basis. We have a pretty good system going, and we've never poisoned ourselves or made anybody else sick, and it always tastes good. And the SCOBY, the part that helps brew the kombucha, it always looks healthy, and we've never had any mold or issues like that. So we've experimented a lot with different, in the beginning with different sweeteners, and we've gotten it down to just being a pretty simple process of simple organic tea and organic sugar, and just letting it go a month, and then bottling it and letting the newly bottled kombucha sit about 7 to 10 days. And then we put that in the fridge and we start a new batch. So that's pretty much been our routine. We'll explain a little bit more in the video, and hope it helps you in your kombucha journey. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. Time to bottle kombucha again. That time of the month, Darren.
Yeah, sure is.
What are we going to put in it today? I think we're going to go simple and just do mulberries.
Mulberries, ginger, anything else?
Oh, stevia leaf.
Yeah.
And yeah. Ingredients here, we got some dried organic white mulberries, and some chopped fresh ginger. This is stevia leaf, dried stevia leaf, and we've got some organic sweet cherries. We might try putting, these are frozen, might try putting those in 1 or 2 of them to just mix it up a little bit. So let's get started. Our ingredients in there, the cherries and stevia leaf in one, and mulberries, ginger, and stevia leaf in the others. And we're ready to, we're going to take the SCOBYs out, and we're going to put the liquid in here, and then we'll put the new tea back in here after we get all that cleaned up. Okay, alright, now we're going to take the SCOBY, wash your hands real well, make sure they're clean. We're going to take the SCOBY out. This is a pretty thick one, and we're going to use, it's the top one, right, Darren?
Yeah.
The top one is usually the healthiest one, and we're going to reuse that one. But right now I just take them out. This one's kind of weird. Put them off a bit, and I set them in a bowl. This one too. This one's weird. Check this one out. I'm kind of like all stuck to this side here. Gonna have to like kind of clean that off. This is weird. Okay, so this part you can see is the healthy part on top. It kind of floated to the top. They're both healthy, but this is kind of the older one. Look how big that is. That's massive. That's going in the compost. But it could be used to start another batch. Alright, there's one. And there's that one. Okay, so now we'll clean up a little bit, and we'll get a jar, and we'll start pouring it into these bottles. Okay, so this is our usual process. We just take a mason jar with a handle on it, and it makes a little bit of a drippy mess, so we got a towel here underneath our bottles. And we just scoop it out and use a funnel. This is just a like rubbery funnel, and pour it in. Okay, I'm going to fill all 4 of these, and then we might have an extra little one sometimes we have to do. And then I'm going to start, I'll wash these up and start putting the new batch in. So, I'll be back in a minute. So, we just bottled up everything. You see, we actually ended up with one more than we thought we did. We ended up throwing some blueberries and ginger and stevia leaf into this one because we had enough for 5 bottles. So, that's about 4 gallons. These start off, these are 2 gallons each, but it's probably more like 3 gallons because we don't fill them to the top. So about 3 gallons of kombucha starts off, and over the month it comes down to, yeah, I guess these are half gallons, so, you know, a little less. It evaporates a little bit. So now I'm going to actually pour this carefully into a mason jar, because we're going to save this for this as a starter for the next batch. I probably won't need it all, but no, I'm gonna have to get another jar for that one. So I'm gonna empty these out, go wash them out, and we'll be back to show you how we put the tea in there. So we've got our original 5 bottles bottled up. We've got our containers over here all cleaned out. I washed them out. As I said, these are 2-gallon containers. They're just like decorative, like cookie jars. They're from Target. I think they were $10 each or something. They weren't expensive. So 2 gallons, and usually we do a little bit less in each one. And so 2 of these yields around 5 bottles, 5 half-gallon bottles of kombucha. And we actually also have this strip on here. This one's in Celsius because that's what they gave us, but this one's in Fahrenheit. And it'll tell you what the temperature of your kombucha brew is. And usually keep it around in the 80s is usually where we want to keep it. But we also have a over here. We're not using it too much in the summer. We have heater strips. I don't know if you can see them, but they plug into the wall. And I forget the name of these, but you can look them up online. Look for kombucha heater, and you'll find this company. There's a great site, lots of information on kombucha. So right now, this is my system. This isn't necessarily how everyone does it, but I brew the night before. I brew a pot of tea because I need more than this to actually fill these jars, but I got tired of trying to make 2 big batches of tea and to fill. So I make a really concentrated batch of tea the night before, and I use, I like Harvey Davidson organic teas. This is the one we use the most, Sun, Moon, and Stars. It is oolong, green tea, and jasmine tea. And I also mix in some of the mountain copper oolong, which is just a simple tea. They're all organic. And then for my sugar solution, instead of making sweet tea, I actually just boil water and put my my sugar right into the hot water, and I make kind of a sugar syrup, which I'll add to equally to each container. Yeah. So, and it's like a half a cup of sugar to like a quart, like a quart-size mason jar. A half a cup of sugar to a quart-size tea. So if you have like a gallon of tea, you'd have a full cup of sugar. So I'm doing roughly about 3 gallons here. Okay, so now this is the tricky part, and it's not very graceful, but I'm going to take this tea, I'm going to try to distribute equally between those two. Now this might go messy. Ready, here we go. There's one. Is that equal? Almost. Hard to tell. A little more in here. Alright, does it look equal to you, Darren? That's about right. Okay, and now for this, like I don't really know how much I have in there, so I'm just going to grab like a, see if I can find a measure. Here's let me just this out. This is a cup-size measuring cup. I would usually use a glass one, but I don't have it. So I'm just going to do one at a time to make it equal. So 1 in here. In here, a little bit more because this one's simple. 1. Okay, so it's fairly equally distributed. Sometimes we'll just pour them back and forth, which I can actually do. To make it fairly simple. It's a little messy because this is, sweetened tea. So there we go. Now it gets hard because this one's heavy. So I'm going to have to get a jar. I don't know. I don't recommend this, but... There we go. So now this kind of just ensures they're a little bit more evenly distributed. Of course, I'm going to have to go back and forth. I could get my jar out. Yeah. There we go. Does that look even? A little bit more. try to have them as even as possible. So now you can see I obviously don't have enough tea in there, but because I made it such concentrated tea last night, I can fill the rest with water. But first I'm going to take like a cup. Let me get my measuring cup again. This is the starter. This is the leftover from the original batch we just bottled. So we need a couple, we just use a couple cups of each one to start it. You could just use one, but since I bet it, just use two. Okay, so now it's gonna take me a few minutes to fill up enough. I use filtered water from our reverse osmosis, and I'll fill these up to about right here, and then I'll add the SCOBY back. So I'll be right back after I fill these up with water. Topping these off with filtered water. Even them out, they look about even. Okay, and I'm gonna take the SCOBY and make sure it looks good. Check it over for mold. They look gross anyway, but you notice any dark spots or any fuzzy mold or anything, that's not good. Even the older one that's sunk to the bottom is in good shape. So yeah, so I'm gonna stick this in there now. And that's the one. It's kind of high, but it evaporates quite a bit. So yeah. So now I'm not really sure. Like this one's kind of thin. This big one. So I still think I'll use the top one. So I just kind of clean off some of the tidbits from the old batch and go ahead and put it in. It's kind of small. What do you think, Darren? It's good enough?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. It'll still, like, usually we let this go a month. Like the average, let me wash my hands here. The average, I think, time to leave it for the first round, for the first, I guess they call fermentation, is like a week or 10 days. But we usually leave it for a full month, and we do this process once a month, and then we let it sit another 7 to 10 days. After we bottle like this, that we just bottled, we'll let this sit at least a week out on the counter, and then we put it in the fridge. But this will sit a month before we bottle it. And so if you taste this, you notice it's, our final product, you notice it's more tangy and tart. It doesn't taste like vinegar, but it's more moving in that direction than like commercial kombucha, which is very sweet. We use a little bit of the stevia leaf to sweeten it up, but this, over a month, this will evaporate a little bit, but it still will end up with 5 bottles or so, and we like the flavor. It's more tangy and yeah, less, like I said, less sweet. So that's it. So now I just take, this is just my own system. These are some of Darren's old undershirts, and I just cut them up and make sure they're clean. You can reuse them, but it's good to wash them. Make sure there's no holes in them, which there is one hole in this one. Darn it. Okay, I'll find the place where there's no hole. And I just take, I have rubber bands here. Just take the rubber band and put it on. And there's the hole. There we go. Alright, and then basically I'll just go set this on the counter. Over in it's kind of a dark shady spot on our little like butler's pantry area, and nobody really uses, and just leave it for a month, and that's it. And then, like I said, in a week we'll put that batch in the fridge, and we always have a steady supply going. Actually, out in our fridge we've got like, what, 6 or 7 bottles now. So, and these beauteous things will go into the compost. We actually occasionally pass them on for people to start their own batch, but unfortunately we can't, they just grow like crazy, so we can't keep them all, and they do great in the compost. So that's it. So I'm gonna go stick this in the corner and clean everything up, and that's our monthly routine with kombucha. So hope that was useful for anybody that's wanting to get into making it. And of course, you can read all over the internet about the health benefits, and there's some people who say it's just there's no health benefits, or it's even detrimental. We've been drinking it and making it for at least a few years now, pretty routinely, and we don't drink large amounts, but like Darren drinks this, here's this wine glass here. We drink like maybe one of these 4 to 5 times a week, so not a lot, and I wouldn't say that I'm like noticed startling health benefits, but I also don't notice any detriments. And where I did notice with the commercial kombucha when I was drinking that regularly, just not feeling as awesome. It felt more like drinking a sugary drink. So that's just my experience. But anyway, good luck on your kombucha journey, and I'm gonna go clean up. See you next. Okay, so this is my silly setup over here in the corner. This is like our little butler's pantry here by the garage door, and I usually just set it here. And I set this. It's like an old salad spinner that broke. I put it on top, and this is like a colander, I guess, just to keep anyone from accidentally setting anything heavy or bumping into it. So that seems to work. And then I'll put the remaining bottles that are going to sit there about a week, the ones we just bottled, in front of it for a while, and then we'll put them in the fridge next week. So there's our setup. Is just going to sit, like I said, this is just going to sit there for the month. The one we just started, and then these bottles will go in the fridge in about a week, and that's it. And I did set up one of the heaters. I did put, it's behind there. I did plug in one of them. Just since our house is air conditioned, it kind of keeps it cozy and warm over here in this corner, which helps everything, all those microbes or whatever, keep working. So that's it. And as you can see, even out here in the fridge, we have quite a stash going for just. Basically, it's the two of us that drink it. The kids drink a little bit, but we share it at potlucks and such. But we have 4 bottles up there and then 2 more down here, so we generally don't run out. So a batch from April, I believe, right? So we're going to open it. Sometimes it fizzes up. No, it's a little bit of fizz. But you can see it's pretty clear. We filtered out the stevia and all this one was strawberry, ginger, and stevia, and we just pour it through a filter, and then we bottle it in the smaller bottles because they're easier to grab, and we drink, we share one over a couple days. So cheers.